For decades, the United Kingdom's political landscape has been dominated by two major parties, Labour and the Conservatives. This two-party system, deeply embedded in British democracy, has shaped the nation's governance since the early 20th century.
Point of order, Madam Speaker. A relatively simple matter for you to rule on. As the Treaty of Rome, as amended, includes the words acquis communautaire.
However, economic challenges, cultural shifts and dissatisfaction with traditional political elites have created fertile ground for alternatives to rise. Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are at the forefront of this transformation, which has disrupted the status quo by positioning itself as the voice of disillusioned voters.
Britain's traditional two-party system is cracking up under the strain of Brexit. We saw that very clearly in last week's European Parliament elections.
In the 2024 general election, the Reform Party captured over 4 million votes, challenging Labour's dominance and contributing to the Conservative Party's continued decline. This movement, reflective of broader populist waves across Europe and the United States, signals a potential end to the UK's long-standing two-party dominance.
The expression that individuals made when they put their crosses in the box, they want Tory reform. And that's the largest share of the vote.
In this documentary, we'll explore how the Reform Party has surged into relevance, the socio-political factors driving its appeal and what its rise means for the future of British politics. From the fall of the Red Wall to debates over immigration and economic justice, this is the story of a political revolution.
The decline of the UK's two main parties, Labour and the Conservatives, can partly be attributed to a growing perception among voters that they have been co-opted by globalist interests, prioritising corporate and elite agendas over the needs of ordinary citizens. This narrative has been particularly potent in framing both parties as entities beholden to multinational corporations, financial institutions, and international organisations, rather than the traditional voter bases. The Conservative Party has faced criticism for its close ties to large financial institutions and global corporations, often accused of pursuing deregulation, tax policies, and trade agreements that disproportionately benefit the wealthy elite. Many voters feel that the party's economic policies, such as austerity measures following the 2008 financial crisis, were designed to protect corporate profits while shifting the burden onto the working and middle classes. In recent years, the Conservatives' handling of Brexit negotiations fueled perceptions of betrayal. While promising to take back control from Brussels, critics argue that post-Brexit policies have instead prioritized the interests of multinational businesses, undermining the sovereignty and economic independence many Brexit voters sought. Labour, once the champion of the working class, has also faced accusations of selling out to globalist interests. Critics highlight its shift towards metropolitan, liberal values, which some argue alienate traditional voters in industrial regions. Under the leadership of Tony Blair and subsequent leaders, Labour's embrace of globalisation, open borders, and internationalist policies marked a departure from its historical focus on workers' rights and domestic economic equity. The party's alignment with pro-European Union stances during the Brexit referendum further strained its relationship with its base. Many felt that Labour was more concerned with appeasing international elites and maintaining globalist policies than addressing the concerns of those impacted by deindustrialization and economic inequality. Both parties are often accused of enabling policies that align with globalist goals, mass immigration to drive down wages, trade agreements that undermine local industries, and environmental regulations that disproportionately harm small businesses while favoring multinational corporations. These policies have fueled distrust among voters who see their communities losing jobs, cultural identity, and political influence. The Reform Party, under Nigel Farage, has tapped into this resentment, positioning itself as a defender of sovereignty, national identity, and economic fairness. By rejecting globalist frameworks and advocating for stricter immigration controls, domestic industry protection, and reduced foreign entanglements, the party appeals to those disillusioned with the status quo. This perception of betrayal for financial or political gain by the global elite is not unique to the UK. Across Europe and the United States, populist movements have capitalized on similar narratives, painting traditional parties as out of touch with the struggles of everyday citizens. Nigel Farage's recent political messaging emphasizes dissatisfaction with the Conservative Party and its handling of Brexit, immigration, and climate policies. Farage has accused the Tories of betraying Brexit principles, highlighting their failure to reduce immigration significantly and critiquing their embrace of net zero initiatives, which he claims harm industries and increase living costs. Under Rishi Sunak, net migration has reportedly reached unprecedented levels of 1.5 million in just 2 years, despite long-standing Conservative promises to curb immigration. On climate change, Farage has expressed skepticism about the focus on human-driven CO2 emissions, suggesting alternative contributors like sunspot activity should be explored. His broader critique of net zero aligns with his portrayal of current policies as elitist and economically damaging. This agenda is gaining traction among voters frustrated with Conservative governance and concerned about Labour's potential policies, which Farage claims would prioritise ideological agendas over practical governance.